Hey everyone, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. The situation on the front line is very workable. Ukraine is doing the same pattern it has been doing so far. It's eroding Russian positions and they're advancing a little by little going forward. I will tell you about the changes on the fronts in a second, but first I want to start with this headline over here. And I'm not sure if I need to say even anything because I'm pretty sure anything quippy or fun or smart will not even come close to this headline by itself. So let's just take it as it is and take it as a good start of today's, maybe a little bit of a joke, like the Russian state. What a joke. Apparently that is happening. Here we go. And then there's also an event that I'm pretty sure a lot of you will be asking questions to me about, which is that Belarusian helicopters, apparently 2 of them, have crossed the border into Poland for up to 3 kilometers and then they went back. This is part of the hybrid warfare that apparently they decided to start against Poland. I don't really think that they are... I don't really think that there will be any direct military intervention, but I think that Belarus is gonna, and maybe they will use Wagner forces as well and so on, to sabotage Polish border, to send in migrants, basically conduct a proper hybrid warfare. And this is, technically speaking, this is like a direct attack on NATO, right? Belarus and Russia and Wagner forces and so on have already talked about the possibility of doing some fuckeries with Poland, and they're doing it. So it's a hybrid warfare, and NATO so far have not responded well. In my perspective, the only proper response to hybrid warfare is to shut it down. But we already discussed this with the situation with American drones when Russian fighters were dumping fuel, throwing flares at the American drones, that in my perspective, it needs to be just stated. You try to fuck around, you will find out eventually. While this is not stated, it's going to continue. We're going to see more and more messages where in some kind of a non-aggressive behavior, like this provocative behavior, will be conducted more and more on the NATO terrain. This is something we need to be aware of. And then let's go to the map update. Now, on the important side, what's interesting? Firstly, there is right now a developing situation. It's a little bit unclear, but apparently Ukraine has struck with drones some Russian ships in the sea. It is now unclear how much is damaged. There are conflicting reports. Some say there's something happened, some say that don't happen, but I'm kind of on top of the situation. Beyond that, with regards to the situation in Kherson, right now, nothing is happening. I told you watch last video, where I give the full map update and explained why it's important to watch Kherson. Right now, nothing that was not happening before, like sabotage missions and fire missions, is not happening. Anything new. With regards to the changes on the map that are notable, right now, the biggest kind of interest is what's happening around Robotyne. This is where Ukrainians are preparing, I would guess, for their operation in the next step. There is right now no major conducted operations here right now, but this is together with what is happening on this line, because in my perspective, and I'm going to tell you why, is that Ukraine wants to focus a little bit more to make sure that they clear out Novodonetsk, they clear out, you cannot see here, but it's Urozhaine, which is like to the right of Staromayorsky, and maybe clear this out, like even out this, just so the battlefield is prepared for the next offensive. Now we can talk a little bit more about Ukrainian attack pattern, because they have something that is very interesting. So Ukraine is using like a swing. You think about the swing. This is what Ukraine is doing. So Ukraine is trying to attack one place for Russia then to just send reinforcements to that place. And then Ukraine tries to apply pressure in the other place. And then Russia tries to send reinforcements to that place. and then Ukraine tries to apply pressure in another place. And this is kind of that has been happening, right? So they are poking, and Russian forces, while at the beginning there was sufficient capacity of Russian forces to cover all of the directions. Now we're getting reports that Russian forces now need to rotate from one direction to another. And obviously they cannot do it as fast. So Ukraine is still trying to erode Russian defenses, as I was telling you about it at the start of this video, but it's also trying to do these swings and make sure that Russians' positions and Russian forces are disbalanced, that they potentially will have at certain moments of weaknesses, and then Ukraine will exploit those. Around the south of Bakhmut, there are very marginal advances by Ukrainian forces. Most notably, Russia has had a very strong counterattack around the area of Klishivka, and they are still trying to reinforce Kurdyumivka as well, despite Ukrainians are advancing. Andriivka, despite many people claiming that Andriivka is clear, I still have not seen any confirmation that it is true. So right now, Russian forces again have sent additional reinforcements, and some of them have been reported very battle-capable troops. And they're taking horrendous losses here, Russians, but they're still holding on to everything. The advances Ukraine wanted to do in the north are also not working out, unfortunately. By the way, to talk about this, reality check for all of you. Whenever I say Ukraine tried to do advance, tried to do an attack, and then fell back, most probably it means some Ukrainians died. I still feel that like people, when they see videos about like, I don't know, some Ukrainians getting killed or some Ukrainian equipment being destroyed, they're like, oh my God, why would they do that? Why would they attack this direction? Very often this is happening because there are certain things. Like, for example, there has been recently a video of like Ukrainians trying to attack around Robotyne, and then some of the APCs and so on gets destroyed by like essentially an ambush, in a well-prepared ambush. And people say like, oh, this attack shouldn't have been happening. Well, firstly, it's how do you say, the armchair generalship. And secondly, we don't know the details. The whole point, we don't know the details. War, despite how shit Russian is about two sides competing still. So there is still a possibility that potentially, there was a traitor in between Ukrainian lines that just gave away that this attack will come. And then Russia was able to additionally reinforce this area with drones and ammunition. Then we also get reports that Russia right now is hiding a lot of troops. So they are putting only a couple troops in trenches, and they just hiding significant forces in the basement in the area, in the city of Robotyne, for example, and so on. So while generally speaking, we can say that potentially what was done there could have been done better, right? But that's depends, different commanders and so on. We also need to understand that sometimes things just don't go specific the way how it should go. We are so used to NATO professionals fighting wars where they have a massive domination over their enemies, and we see these flawless tactics, like when everything that the enemy has been burned out by the aviation. And here we have, honestly speaking, very very similar adversaries. In this case, Ukraine versus Russia, very similar armies that are fighting each other. And Ukraine doesn't have a significant advantage over Russia. And that means only one thing, that these things will happen and are happening. And Ukrainians are dying. And sometimes, especially in war, people die for very, very, very dumb reasons. So you sitting there and just whoa, well, shouldn't have been happening. If I would there, I would not do this. Well, you're not there. And people that died in those attacks, they were brothers, fighters, soldiers. Ukraine cares deeply about its people. That's why we saw the decrease in the attacks. But sometimes certain things just needs to be done. And sometimes the enemy knows how to respond to this. So that is something that I want to say, and it just got me a little bit boiled, especially because we were discussing this right from the get-go, like at the start of the offensive, that we will see certain things happen. And back to the good news. So at the north here, as you can see here, for some reason, certain things are blue, and blue means retaken by Ukraine, which means that Russians got their shit caved in. So they have fallen back. So all of their major 100,000 forces, 900,000 tanks that they've gathered for this offensive, it failed. It failed. Their offensive failed. Now, I wouldn't obviously say that they don't have the attacking capability. They still have the potential, but trust in the armed forces in Ukraine. They know what they're doing. They know how to deal with Russians. So there we go. Really, really good news. Russians getting kicked out of the attempts on Ukrainian territory. But in some other news, Ukraine is trying also to fight some internal problems. For example, so the events like we just discussed about the very awful attack on Robotina that's made some waves. There's also been discussions that potentially it was a staged video, like video from the old time. It was just different. It doesn't matter. Like even if it would be real video, which I'm not completely sure because sometimes it's completely clear. But the point is, Ukraine is trying to fight it. And we already had a lot of news discussing that, hey, there is a lot of these guys that are recruitment offices that are making a lot of money. And here Ukrainians are trying to actually fight it. And here they're trying to, for example, they arrested a guy that was made over $350,000 in profits for getting people out of the army, out of the military. So Ukraine is having a lot of internal troubles as well, but they're trying to solve it. The police and everyone else is trying to solve it. Zelensky himself told that they will try to fight this problem. And then some really good news is that from the monument of Ukraine, this motherland monument, the symbol of the Soviet Union now is gone. It has been fully removed, so no more Soviet past in the center of Kyiv. And that is really great news, and it just makes me warm in my heart. Additionally, to kind of round it all up today, guys, I just want to say a couple of words of kind of gratitude and highs. I got reached out to some people, and I reached out to people as well, and I need to say a couple of words. Firstly, from all of our community, we say great hi to guys in the 68th Brigade in Ukraine that are right now on the northern front lines. We also say hi to the guys in the 77th and 22nd Brigade. They are right now somewhere in the area of Bukmut, if I'm not wrong. And most importantly, I want to say and extend my hi and thanks and absolute words of gratitude and respect to the guys from the 3rd Assault Brigade and Terra unit, especially if we're talking about people that don't get always the recognition as the guys that are international fighters, and especially some people that we know that are fighting both from Azerbaijan and from Turkey. From our community, huge thanks to you, huge thanks from what you're doing. It is the 3rd Assault Brigade and other brigades that, started delivering us videos, how Russia's getting kicked out of Bakhmut. And it's amazing to see, and it's going to continue to see. But I think it's also fair that if we want to see more of how these guys will kick Russian asses, then I think we should also support. We did a big gathering, big donations to gather some vehicles for the armed forces of Ukraine. Well, we decided not to start a new campaign, and instead we're going to join an existing campaign. So let me just get you to this page. So we contacted guys at the Terra unit, and they said that they have an acute need for some additional FPV drones to help them fight the Russians. So instead of us basically starting a new campaign, we're just gonna join in. So I will send certain profits from this channel to this guy, to this campaign. And this is also where I'm gonna ask you guys, if you are considering like donating money to me, potentially reconsider. Let's try to do this. Let's try to support Terra. Let's try to get those 100 FPV drones. I'm going to leave credentials in the first comment of the video and in the video description. Just go for it. They have different ways of payment. Right now, they're looking to get 2 million Ukrainian hryvnias, which is about 50,000 US dollars. So I'm pretty sure this is very doable for us all. Let's do it. I love you all, guys. Thank you so much. Slava Ukraini, and I'll see you next time.